Hello and welcome to the opening episode of the Basketball Show. I'm Nathan Strempel and it's my pleasure to be joined right here in throwbackstore.com.au by four-time Olympian Shane the Hammer Hill. But mate, that doesn't look like one of your Olympic jerseys. You pulled out just a junior world champs jersey or something like that. It's looking a little bit tight today.
Well, mate, I'm going to wear a different top every week. We've got to, wrap up some people each week. And today it's the Opals. And why wouldn't we? But I asked you to get a simple job, mate. Get an Opals top and you get me Leilani Mitchell's, mate. I feel like Big Bird or the Blimp, a mixture.
It's actually Alice Kunek's jersey and Commonwealth Games gold medal winning jersey. The Chemist Warehouse Opals off there. Silver medal in the World Cup. But yeah, Alice is an elite athlete in great shape and your playing days are a little bit over. But you're looking all right there.
Well and truly over. I've just got to suck in for the whole show. But well done to the Opals. Second in the world over a couple of hundred countries that obviously play basketball and women's basketball, but our girls are simply elite.
Well, yeah, look, I loved Emily McInerney threw it out. It's obviously during AFL Grand Final week, NRL Grand Final, she's throwing out how many people play AFL and NRL basketball, a game played worldwide, and the Opals second only to the US, who they took it right up to in the gold medal game.
Incredible. Sandy Brondello and all the girls, well done.
Great work by the team, and the Opals doing well, and we'll touch on them, and obviously the WNBL as the season goes on. But just as we've just given them a little bit of pump up, and you'll pump someone up throughout the week with the jerseys, and obviously here in the throwback store, plenty of jerseys to choose from in the NBA, first ever jerseys from the NBL. But you're not going to be nice to everyone. You're known for calling it how it is, Shane, and our opening segment we're going with is Under the Hammer, and you're probably going to hammer a lot harder than this soft hammer here, but who's under the hammer first up this week?
Well, I've got to ask you the question. Jordan Jett pre-season came out and said he was going to be MVP. He was talking about the Illawarra Hawks, was he?
No, I spoke to him at the Blitz and he said, why do you come to play unless he's coming to win the MVP and the Hawks winning the NBL championship?
So he understands the MVP means the most valuable player in the entire NBL. He's playing with two former MVPs of the league, in Jackson and Conklin. Has he heard of guys? He's been away for a little while. Has he heard of Cotton, Randall, Ware, Wiley, I love, Webster, Golding? Is he kidding? I tell you, I've got some advice for him. And I feel like I'm contradicting myself a little bit because I always tell people to aim as high as you possibly can. And that's what he's done. So I feel a little bit bad.
And that's how he's framed it. He said, well, I'm not coming here to, you're not coming here to play for second. We're here to win a championship, here to win MVP.
Okay, that's great. What I will do, I'll give you some advice. I've got 3 goals for you that would be better. You shoot 28% from the three-point line in your career. Get 40. Get 40%. That would be a great goal. Maybe achievable, maybe not. Second one, be in the top 5 defensive players in the entire NBL. That would be a great goal. And thirdly, if you do those things, I reckon your team might just sneak into the top 4. Without it, there's no chance. They can't shoot from the perimeter. So that's it. So week 1, bang, you've been hammered.
That is, yes, there's none of this gentle tap it in. That's a severe hammer to start the season, and I appreciate what you're saying there, but realistic goals for him. We're not going to hammer people all week though, but what I appreciate you is you call it how it is, and you've said to Jordan, maybe that's not a realistic goal. Moving to the other side, each week you've been known to stroke it throughout your career. You're going to give someone a stroke and let them know when they're doing well, so it's not just all hammer time.
Well, we're all about a bit of love as well. We've looked after the Opals, and the stroke of this show, though, goes to the NBL. Unbelievable.
Just sucking up the boss first weekend, just giving a bit of love to the boss.
But I am going to get a couple of credits up because at some stage I'll probably give it to somebody there, and I will probably give it to the refs as well. But you have to take your hat off to them. I would never have dreamed, and maybe Jordan will say, well, you're contradicting yourself, but I would never have dreamed that any NBL teams would play a game in the NBA pre-season. Now we've got 7. Just unbelievable what we've been able to do. Record crowds, now back on Channel 9, as well as every game being on Fox. So records to be set. And we talk about the glory days being back when I played, back in the black and white days. But these are the glory days. They're breaking all sorts of records now. This is the future.
Yeah, I think to add to that is what basketball talent around this country has been great for years. You played in teams that went to the Olympics and knocked right on the door of winning medals at the Olympics. We did that again in 2016. But it's not only a great basketball product, it's an incredible entertainment product. You're talking about a 3-year deal with Channel 9, crowds in the stadiums right up, but eyeballs watching on TV right up to, and sponsors paying attention as well as Hungry Jackson on board. Europe Car on with the referees now, like you said, they're listed here: Kmart, Qantas, Chemist Warehouse, MG, and you have to think that list is just going to continue.
No doubt. And you talk about the quality of our league, and you look at what Bryce Cotton did over there with the amount of points that he dropped. Also Sobey. So we've got players that can play in the NBA. Torrey Craig, who played here for a number of years. So we know that's going to be the case, and I think it's just the penny's starting to drop for the general public in Australia.
Mate, I like it. You come and stroke someone week up. You've gone with the boss, so you've just given yourself a little bit of leverage in case you want to come back and just throw them under the hammer as the season goes on. But credit well deserved. Larry, Jeremy, Andy, the entire team at the NBL. Credit where it's due. The glory days are right now. And you've been stroked. Each week someone's going to get a stroke, but now it's time to move forward and look into the crystal ball. I believe you've just got some headwear to pop on as we do this, because the NBL season kicks up. More talent in the league than ever, a bunch of changes in the off-season, and everyone wants to know who you are predicting to finish where. Give me your 1 through to 8 for the coming season. Before
we start, I have no idea how am I predicting? I think it's a little fetish from Director Dave over there. He's been persistent all day. You got to wear this, you got to wear this. So anyway, yep,
I think you're worrying about under the hammer with you in just that looks like one of the Lycra bodysuit Opals tops plus the hat. You're looking great.
The basketball show, not the footy show. But let's go
1 through 8. Who finishes top?
I'm going Melbourne United. It's not often that you win a championship.
Really gone out on a limb there.
and you get better. They really have. I think Mitch McCarron's the pickup of the year. He just does it all. And I think with Chris Golding and also Casper Ware, I just think that backcourt is just going to be so tough. Not only to score points, but rebounding defensively and all the rest of it. I like the Pledger signing as well. I think he's done well. DJ Kennedy, he's the question mark, has not been able to produce so far, but he's somebody that comes really highly recommended. So you think at some stage, even though he didn't really show any athleticism against the NBA teams, you think he's going to have to stand up.
It's good. Ty Wesley, Casey Prather and Dave Anderson will be happy to hear you think they've got better. Who comes in second?
Good point. The Sydney Kings, they're the most talented team maybe ever put together. There's no doubt they've got the biggest budget that's ever been put together. But obviously Bogut changes everything. I mean, he's fantastic to have him back in the league, not only for his social media, and I'm a big follower of that, but also the way he defends the paint. I think he's going to lead the league, obviously, in shot blocking. He's a great passer. Their pick-and-roll defense was horrendous last year, and I think he changes that automatically. But the big thing he does is he makes other players better. Brad Newley looks like a different player. They play together, and old roller coaster, he goes up and down a bit. Now he's playing like a man, and he feels good about himself. We know about Jerome Randall and Lish. Kickett, the list goes on. Huge upside and massive depth.
Yeah, and some young guys off the bench. A bunch of talent there, I can't disagree.
Question marks, though. Obviously, their health is a question mark, no doubt, and the camaraderie. See how they get along in the locker room. And obviously, Drewy as well. I mean, he's finished second bottom the last 2 years, and how that all goes about as well. He's going to really have to change a few things and embrace this talented team.
Yeah, well, you're obviously answering those questions, though. You've got them second. So 1 and 2, who comes in third?
I've got the New Zealand Breakers. I think Corey Webster, he could lead the league in scoring. We saw that against the NBA teams and in the Blitz. He's a superstar. But they've added Wesley. You spoke about Wesley. He was huge for United last year. Guys like Jared Weeks, 3 good imports, Abercrombie, some of these guys that have so much ability to be able to put points on the board, but good structure. I like the way Braswell ran his team the other day. I like the structure and their movement, their on balls, the way he put people in that position. They're going to be tough to beat. Yeah, I agree with you so far, and you need to name Sean Long when you say 3 good imports, because he tore the Blitz apart. So he's going to be great to watch, and Ty Wesley, second All-NBA, so second All-NBL last season, so I think he's a big piece. So I don't disagree with those top 3. I think it gets interesting now who's getting that last spot in the playoffs. Well, there's 2, isn't there? There's the Perth Wildcats and the Adelaide 36ers, and both could quite easily, finish between probably 3rd and 5th or 6th, I reckon. I'm going with the Perth Wildcats. They've made it for 30-something years in the finals. I think they'll do it. I'm not sure they'll finish the season with the team they've got. They haven't got their imports right the last couple of years, but I like the signings of Jervis. I like Kay. I like Norton. Terrico White, I think he's 6 for 28 in the 2 games. He's supposed to be a scorer. A scorer is someone who shoots it and puts it in. So far, he hasn't done that, but I didn't really like his body language, his defense and that. He needs to get his A into G, otherwise he will be gone. Yeah, fair call. I think that's the key point. As it stands, I think Adelaide get in. I love the look of Adelaide compared to Perth right now. Like, White is
comes in as a shooter and he's shooting it, he's just not making it, so that's an issue. But I hear, so Perth, New Zealand, Sydney, Melbourne, they're your top 4, and that means Adelaide's 5th. Who do you have 6 to 8?
As I say, Adelaide could quite easily make it because I've been impressed with the way they've played as well. I think Dremick's going to have a huge year.
Won the Blitz, took it to Utah.
Yeah, we've seen Sobey as well. You can really make a strong argument. And it's hard to doubt them, but you've got to leave somebody out. And, I like Froling coming in, Jack McVeigh coming in as well. I've got question marks about De Leon. Can they get by without having a high caliber player? We know Ramon Moore's a good player and a good role player, but is he at the level that they need? I love Wiley. Jacob Wiley, he could be the MVP. His first step and his athleticism is unique in our league, but he can also step out and hit the 3. So, I'm talking them up, and I haven't even put them in the top 4, but they're going to be good.
Yeah, I'll talk later about Adelaide. I think they're going to be great, but and I think they make it, but you've got 6 to 8, so you've got 3 teams there. Brisbane, Illawarra, Cairns not making it. What order did you see them coming in?
This is a chook raffle. I mean, these 3 teams could finish in any order, but I think they all will finish 6 to 8. I've gone with the Illawarra Hawks, and I haven't been a fan with what Rob Beveridge has done, but it's hard to sort of overlook what Rob Beveridge has done in the past. Has he got this mastermind? He's talking about all these players that haven't been wanted on other teams, and now he's pulling them together, and they're coming together and get it done. The thing that they lack is just being able to make 3-point shots. They've got no 3-point shooters. Blanchfield can, but he's going to have to step up. Highly paid. He's going to have to do stuff that he hasn't ever done before. But their backcourt, wow.
I don't mind the backcourt. I think they're thin in the bigs, so I think 6th might be generous. I think they might get the spoon in my books, but you've got it between Brisbane and Cairns. Well,
Brisbane could get a 3rd straight wooden spoon. I love the fact that they've got Kadee and Glidden. I think they're 2 really good signings. Not sure about Holt. I just don't know why they signed Holt. Like, people talk about, what he did back in Melbourne, but in Melbourne he was the starting point guard. He's playing 30 minutes, you give him the ball. Well, you've signed Jason Kadee. You don't need Holt. Okay, so I think that's a spot that they've really messed up on. They haven't nailed their Americans the last few years. Haven't seen enough of G, but he needs to be able to get going as well. Question marks about Bairstow. I love his game when he's healthy. Is he healthy? And Vacona's obviously on the other side of his best basketball, but stand to be proven wrong, and hopefully they can get off the bottom.
So Brisbane in 7th or 8th?
7th, and I've got the Cairns Taipans, which absolutely kills me to say that because I like what Mike Kelly's done. I like the way he's recruited. I'm just not sure that he's been able to get enough to be able to get off that bottom, but they could finish anywhere between 6th and 8th. They'll play hard. I think they'll play very much together. They'll have a great culture. How their imports go is going to be really important, and whether they've got enough experience. What are you laughing at?
It's more stroking than hammer for the team finishing 8th. You're like, I love them. I love Mike Kelly. You're saying they're going to finish bottom.
Well, I'm saying that as they finish bottom, so I'm stroking them after I hammer them.
That's fair enough. A little stroke and a hammer. Cairns to finish bottom. There's your top 8. We'll see if the Genie prediction goes well. We'll jump into our predictions for the first round shortly, but as the season goes on, we'll see lots of basketball people around the place, both you and I, Shane, getting stadiums around the place. We're going to spend 60 seconds with significant basketball personalities and just get to know them a little bit off the basketball court. And the first one this week is someone who's one of the biggest people in basketball over the last 30 years in Australia.
He's a dead set champion. Mr. Magic Steve Carfino, one of the guys that we work with, had an unbelievable career.
60 seconds with Steve Carfino.
Who else would you have here for the first edition of Crunch Time than Mr. Magic Steve Carfino? Nice leisurely day, we go for a drive. And mate, 1 minute. I'm going to ask you, and you have to get through these questions as quickly as you can. That's tough. For 1 minute.
That's going to be tough, yeah.
You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. 1 minute on the clock. Here we go. Fold or scrunch?
Oh, fold.
Who will win a fight, Andrew Gaze or Rob Beveridge?
So I don't know what Rob Beveridge fights like, but Rob Beveridge.
John Casey or Matt Russell?
Matt Russell.
100-metre sprint, Nate Jawai or Leonard Copeland?
Leonard Copeland.
Dean Vickerman or Joey Wright?
Ooh, I'd have to say Joey Wright.
Is that an American thing? All right, one-on-one. LeBron or Kobe?
LeBron.
Cotton or Randall?
Randall.
Kyle Adnam or Liz Cambridge?
Liz Cambridge.
Wow.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Webster or Goldie? That's a good one.
Yeah, that is. I'm going to go Golding.
Ingalls or Exum?
Ingalls.
Dan Ewing or Jamie Soward?
Dan Ewing.
Who's sexier, J Lo or Jennifer Hawkins?
Oh, J Lo.
Better player, Cal Bruton or CJ Bruton? You're down to 5 seconds.
Cal Bruton.
Who would you build an NBL team around, Daly or Patty Mills?
Daly.
Time.
That's it?
Daly. Go Daly, would you?
I'm trying to win.
Yeah?
He's a winner. He's a winner.
I'm not
It's
arguing with
not a
you.
landslide.
Okay, I want to go
Okay.
over some of these other ones that you said. Who else was Liz Cambridge over Kyle Adams? How would that play out?
Are they playing basketball?
Yeah.
What?
Mate, how would that play out?
Like a Great Dane and a Chihuahua going at it. We're not talking about a relationship, are we?
And Andrew Gay, well, that wasn't part of the question,
Jeez,
but
that'd be
take
ugly.
it the direction you want. Andrew Gaze and Rob Beveridge in a fight. That would be pretty interesting, wouldn't it?
Whoever you match Andrew Gaze up against, I'm going with the other guy.
and mate, you're pretty adamant on the fold or scrunch.
Oh, yeah.
You're down on the scrunch.
What civilized person wouldn't fold it? Never scrunched in my life. What about you?
I don't.
You
No,
scrunch
mate, I'm
your
right there with you.
Really?
Yeah, right there with you.
okay.
But,
Got that
mate, you've done
comment.
it, mate. That's why you're number one.
Let me ask you one.
Okay.
Would you rather go on Dancing with the Stars or to get kicked in the nuts?
Easily, I'd rather get kicked in the Jats crackers any day of the week. But hey, I'm the one who answers the question, and Steve Carfino, how many have you got? I think you got like 13, mate. So well done, and you are the leader of this segment. Thanks for coming on.
Mr. Magic Steve Carfino at his best there. We'll pick up on personalities throughout the season. We move now into the predictions for round one, Shane, and you want to introduce some sort of a challenge to, if you don't like a prediction that comes, I need you to explain that.
Well, we're going to have a challenge, and you sooked it up beforehand, because the challenge is, if I put up the challenge, or you do, and whoever gets it right on one of these predictions, we get to give the other person a bit of a poke in the face, man. You're talking about your nose, don't hurt my nose and everything. That's what we did when we were kids, mate. Yahtzee!
I don't know what you do when you're kids. I just don't want to get poked by the guy that picks fights for Charles Barkley.
You're going to get poked, mate.
When you get poked, that's fine. I'm up for a challenge. Happy to put my knowledge on the line. Usually I like doing the poking rather than getting poked, so I'll try and get my predictions right. Moving into round one, NBL season underway, a bunch of changes in the off-season. First game to open up, New Zealand hosts Brisbane.
New Zealand are going to slap the Brisbane Bullets in the first game, I reckon. The way they've played and the confidence, they will slap them. Don't worry about that. They're playing with a whole lot of confidence. So many question marks about the Brisbane Bullets. The only positive that the Bullets have got is the matchup with Glidden, who's a great defender, against Webster. It's the only area where I think they have something to be able to work with.
Yeah, New Zealand will be too strong there. I completely agree. Adelaide then hosts Perth.
This is the hardest one of the round. This is a flip of the coin, and you can make a case for both teams. But I'm going to go with the Adelaide 36ers. I think at home, that sort of environment there. I'm going to be there calling the game. They absolutely hate the Perth Wildcats, and they'll be there in force, and look forward to seeing that. But that'll be a close game. That's really going to be.
Yeah, I was throwing a challenge fake. It was just challenge fake. I'm not going to challenge you though. Adelaide, no, I was going for it. I agree you could toss the coin, but Brant's out. Adelaide looking so strong in the preseason. They took it right at Utah. Sobey was brilliant. I don't think they'll be looking to put an NBA out clause in his next contract anytime soon because he looks sharp. So I agree with Adelaide there. Then so you've gone with the home teams so far. So Illawarra hosting Melbourne, no doubt staying with the home teams.
Nope. I think Melbourne are going to be too strong. The only question mark you got around Melbourne is fatigue and any sort of injuries that might have taken place with guys not playing over there in the United States. But maybe they were just being conservative, getting ready for this game.
I don't think it's a question at all. Illawarra have been in Malaysia playing in a big tournament over there. So
that's true.
I think there's a question mark. I think Melbourne come to town and the champs are going to show how to do it.
I think they will. And I think it's going to be a good win for them on the road to start with.
Road team there, agree once again. Sydney hosting Adelaide.
Now, I think this could get ugly for Adelaide. They've been over in the States. They come back. They'll get a home win, I think. A couple of days earlier, they travel against a team that's freshened up. There'll be a big crowd out there to see Andrew Bogut's first game. You imagine Jerome Randall coming off that big game against the Clippers as well. They're going to be confident. They want to make a statement, and they'll make it early. This is going to be a big margin.
I think
figures.
I'll go single figures, but I agree. I agree that Sydney win, but I just think Adelaide's style, they'll stay in the game. But Kudos Bank Arena is a big stadium. To think it might be close to full is exciting for the league. It'll be a good one to get to. Brisbane hosting Cairns.
Well, another flip of the coin. This game could go either way, but I'm going to go with the Bullets, just talking about how desperate they're going to be to get off to a good start. I think they'll lose that first one in New Zealand, come back. I think it's a bit of an advantage having one game under your belt. They come back home against a Cairns Taipans team. They've really got a free swing, the Taipans. They're probably not expected to win it, but they come down there with a chance to be able to get it done. I think it'll be close, but I'm going Brisbane.
Played each other in the Blitz. It'll be interesting to see how each team's adjusted. I agree with Brisbane, though, once again. So no challenges yet. Next, we go to Melbourne. The champs unveiling the championship banner. New Zealand coming to town with Ty Wesley wearing a United jersey. Alex Pleasure in a Melbourne jersey. How do you see it playing out?
Well, I think Melbourne will win. But, again, it's hard to write off any sort of chance for the New Zealand Breakers just because they're such a confident team. They're a team that once they get hot, doesn't matter who they're playing against, it's going to be very difficult to be able to stop, particularly Corey Webster, who we've spoken about. But they've got depth. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. But I think the whole emotion of getting back to that spot where they won the championship last year, Chris Goulding crying as he cut down the net, I think they'll get a win.
Yeah, it's so much emotion. I think this is the closest game in the round. Not a toss of the coin, but I think it's close because there's a taste of this New Zealand team that was a real thorn for United a couple of seasons ago when they had Webster and they had Wesley, this really successful New Zealand team, and they're going to come back with that same attitude. But I agree, the champs are the champs and you've got to get through them. I don't think it's going to happen in round one. So one last game to come, Perth hosting Illawarra.
This is going to get ugly. The Red Army, it's going to be a bloodbath, no doubt about it. They don't like playing over there in Perth. They've only won one game out of the last 18 at Perth Arena. We know AJ Ogilvy, every time he goes to Perth, he does not put up a very good performance. Again, I think the defence of the Wildcats is going to be too strong. They won't be able to make perimeter shots, but I don't think they'll be able to penetrate against them either.
Long history between the two teams, but I think it helps Perth finding their rhythm, which they're looking for. There's a lot of talk about they're not in sync. Their first NBA game was a big margin, so they're needing to find some rhythm, but I think that's a chance for them to do it. Perth will win that. So
and White might find his jump shot then in that game too.
He's got 13,000 people in Perth Arena helping him to get amongst it, and he's probably got his contract riding on it.
Yep, no doubt.
So there's no disagreements there, so no challenge first week. It's not because I'm afraid of the poke, but I actually agree with what you're going, but I'm not going to...
I think you are.
No, I'm not going to agree with you every week, but this week I do agree with what you're saying. But as well as the NBL... every game live on Fox, 2 games a week on Channel 9 now. Exciting once again as well on Fox to see Game of the Week for the WNBL. We've got, as you just looked very nice there in Alice Kunek's Opals jerseys. Alice Kunek, who are unlucky not to make that World Cup side with her length and her shooting, but watch for her in teams to come. But one WNBL game a week on Fox. We're going to preview that game as well. But exciting season. Who do you like in the WNBL season to start with?
Well, you have to say the Boomers have recruited really well. I mean, they got 4 of those Opals girls, so they're going to be pretty strong. But
and the WNBA import.
And yeah, so they've got talent, they've got depth as well. But the Perth Lynx have done extremely well as well. Obviously, having a couple of girls in the Australian team as well, and Asia Taylor as well is going to be a good one. And their new import's supposed to be pretty good as well.
I think you can talk about their new point guard, Shyla Hill, who's coming off a very impressive junior international career. Your daughter's going to be very good. She's in a great spot in Perth. The champs will be unhappy that you haven't mentioned them in the first 2 teams. So Townsville Fire, Susie Bakovic last season. Lots of talent, but you do mention Perth there in that first game. The Adelaide Lightning taking on the Perth Lynx first game on the TV game of the week. How do you see that one?
Yeah, well, to be fair, I don't know a lot about Adelaide, but I know their best player is going to be out for a period of time as well. So you would think that Perth are probably going to be a little bit strong over there. Obviously, Lauren Mansfield still out as well, so that will hurt the Perth Lynx. But unfortunately, I'm going to be calling the Kings game at the same time, so I'll be watching the live box scores.
Just having your daughter's first game in the WNBL on the box score on the phone while the game's going on. Chris Lucas has done a great job in rebuilding the Lightning franchise. He's brought a couple of ex-Rangers over in Steph Blitzarves and Amy Clydesdale. They've got plenty of talent, but I really like what Andy Stewart's doing at Perth. So I agree Perth will get that game as well. No challenge once again. Just we're wrapping the... first round as well, just to touch on, we've mentioned a bit of it, those 7 games, NBL teams taking on NBA teams, and a bunch of games where they're actually taking it right up to legit NBA teams over there.
Yeah, it was exceptional, really. And I'm looking forward to this NBA season starting. Have a look at this. We're in the best venue
right,
for NBA gear, no doubt about that. But when the NBA season starts, we're going to talk about the games that are on ESPN, and I can't wait to get stuck into that season as well with League Pass. And, it's going to be close to see whether anyone can come from the east and take care of Golden State.
And just so many things going on. There's Golden State bring in Boogie Cousins to add to this team that's already won. But just the little storylines every week. This week we saw Kevin Durant coming out in a retro Sean Kemp Sonics jersey, as I see a Sonics jersey up there. So we'll be touching all things Barcelona. That definitely includes the NBA as the season gets rolling. But right there from the top of elite basketball in the NBA, right down to junior hoops, there's so many young guys with Simmons dominant on the cover of NBA 2K in Australia, if you don't mind, inspiring all these young basketballers. And each week we're going to just show a hoop highlight video from a young basketballer out there. It could be you. Check us out, The Basketball Show AU. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter and send it in. Hammy, you've got one first week that we're having a look at. Who's that guy kicking it off?
I got little Pistol Pete. Check this out. The little fella, he's got all the skills in the world. He just splits that little double team with a spin move and a same hand, same foot, representing elite basketball. Don't worry about that. Pistol Pete for 2. And we know there's a lot of talent coming through Australian basketball. So we want both boys and girls to be able to send in their highlights, and so we can brag about you.
And I'm happy for it to be low lights as well. You get a little basketball blooper video, a little falcon off the head, whatever it might be. Just send your video.
Might get one of you.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Get plenty of those off
That'd
me.
be good.
I'm happy to provide them. My old man's still got them on VHS at home. But send in your basketball videos. We'll check out your highlights. And new segments coming each week as well. We're looking at questions coming in from the audience. So social media, Facebook, Twitter, The Basketball Show AU is what you're looking for. I'm Nathan Strempel, joined by one of the best brains in the business here in Shane Hill, 4-time Olympian. So throw in your questions for Shane. You're happy to answer them, and you're not going to shy away from anything, are you,
Can't wait. Throw them at us. We're looking forward to being able to take those questions and have a little bit of fun along the way. That's what we're about.
That's it. And I'm just going to try and avoid getting poked. So each week, everything happening in basketball around Australia and around the world, check us out on The Basketball Show. But for now, that's week 1. Check out the first round of NBL and WNBL action coming up this week.